Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Jamin's Daily, episode 22, home edition. We're going to call this the dark version because we don't have the lighting like we used to. But we're trying it out. New scenery. You let me know at home, folks, if you like what you see. Send me an email, jaminsdaily@gmail.com. We're going to get right into things. Moving along, looking on the interwebs, I found three things that Dr. Fauci, who's this guy? Dr. Fauci is like the man. He knows all about coronavirus. And he says there are three of the riskiest places to go during COVID. So let's find out. It says some businesses might be operating as normal throughout the United States, but that doesn't mean they should. According to Anthony Fauci, MD, he's a doctor, folks. He knows what he's talking about. Immunologist and director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease. In fact, during an appearance on MSNBC, he said that three types of businesses may be the most likely to spread the novel coronavirus. Let's find out. What are the three? Let's see. He says... And they don't even, I'm looking at this article and you think there would be like 1, 2, and 3. There's not. It proceeds to be in paragraph form, which makes it a little difficult to read out. So it says on September the 17th, Dr. Fauci told All-In host Chris Hayes that closing gyms, bars, and restaurants. There we go. Those are the three. Gyms, bars, and restaurants. You know what's so sad about that? Because those are where all the good-looking people are. Okay, folks? If you want to go look at, eye candy, you go to the gym, you go to a bar, you go to the restaurants, right? Perhaps. I don't know. You let me know. Those are all the places that need to be closed. How sad. In fact, the CDC just came out. If you go on their website with a figure that's really telling, it shows the odds of risk of different types of situations that give you higher risk of transmissibility. Big words here on Jamin's Daily. Transmissibility, folks. At bars, restaurants, and gyms. Those are the three places, folks, you may not want to go. Hearing it here on Jamin's Daily because we're all about spreading the good word. This is a public service. This is why I do this. I'm out trying to help people, okay? So, Dr. Fauci, this guy, he knows a lot from what I've heard. He's on the news, so he must know things. So don't go restaurants, gyms, and bars. Those are the three. Moving along. Eva Longoria, she just posted a photo showing off her abs in the cutest workout set. You know what? I don't care. You know why? Because I have beef with Eva Longoria. Why, you may ask? Jamin, why do you have beef with Eva Longoria? I'll tell you why. Because I'm from Corpus Christi, Texas. Eva Longoria used to be from Corpus Christi, Texas. And you know what? She forgot where she came from. She never comes back. She can't even come back to say what's up. Let's do something, a parade, be the grand marshal of a parade, give out some bikes to poor kids in Corpus Christi where you were born and raised and went to high school. But no, forgot where you came from. Eva Longoria, not your fan. So when you're posting hot photos of your abs on the internet, you know what? I'm going to pass. Moving along. This is where we learn some new things, folks. We talked about in previous episodes about censorship and how I'm learning what you can and cannot say on the internet. So sometimes we're going to have to talk about things and I can't say the name of the person and you're just going to have to try to use that brain in your head and figure it out. Okay, folks? Try to give you some clues, but ultimately it's going to be up to you. All right? So insert female person wonders how top Facebook employees can, quote, look themselves in the mirror because they make, quote, money off poison. Ooh. Those are some serious accusations coming from this lady. She's from San Francisco. She has a lot of power, I can't say her name because I could then may get censored by Facebook folks. So I think I know. She got in trouble because she went to a beauty salon. When they're supposed to be closed. So this person is talking about how Facebook. She said she's holding Facebook very accountable for posts on the platform in support of QAnon. That's what we've talked about it. We're going to try to find a QAnon, like someone who's in QAnon. We're going to get him on the show because we're very interested on this right-wing conspiracy theory that claims, in part, that Democrat Party leaders are involved in child sex trafficking. Those are some serious accusations. So if we can find somebody who can elaborate, we want them on the show. This lady, who's been slamming Facebook, continues and says, I don't know how the Facebook board of directors or their top employees can look themselves in the mirror. That is always a very serious, almost low blow that you send to the opposition. When you're arguing with somebody, you're trying to make a point, you say, how do you look yourself in the mirror? It's a very serious thing to say. Because when you look at yourself, when I look at myself in the mirror, I like what I see. Okay, folks? So, moving on. This person keeps saying, she keeps continuing to criticize Facebook. Facebook is like this giant target that everybody just loves to beat on. It's like don't even want to say. It is like a giant punching bag. We all get to punch it. And she continues to criticize, particularly after the company last year refused to take down doctored video that made her appear drunk. Ooh, so even a little clue about who we're talking about. Last year, there was this doctored video of her that made her appear drunk. So, I don't think it's fair or appropriate for people to use their positions of power to bully companies. It's not very fair. I don't think, especially when it's not clearly. These things are left to be judged. They're very subjective. So it's up to you to make your own decision, folks. This is a free country. In Jamin's Daily, we like free speech absolutists. So you say and you think what you want, send me an email at jaminsdaily.com. We're going to take our first break. Before we do, we got to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by Sage Choice Insurance. You can reach them at 361-400-2411. I'm sorry, 361-400-2411. Get a quote. Know how you get this quote? You go onto the interweb. You type it in. Quote from Jamin.com. That's simple. Quote from Jamin.com. Takes you straight to this online form. Boom, 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 boom. You got a quote. Easy peasy. Or you can just call us. 361-400-2411. Sage Choice Insurance. When we get back, we are going to, let's look at my notes. When we get back, we are going to talk about our next topic. It's going to be about these cruise companies. I've been on a cruise once in my life. But would you go on a cruise now? In the age of coronavirus? I don't know. I'm going to let you know what I think when we get back. And we're back from the break, ladies and gentlemen. Jamin's Daily, episode 22, home edition, in the dark. Coming back for the second segment, we're going to look into how Carnival Cruises are going to start requiring COVID testing for all passengers and crew prior to U.S. departures. And it says, planning to cruise in the future? Companies say they will mandate COVID testing for all passengers and crew prior to boarding once U.S. departures resume. So they're not even doing this, but once they do, they're letting you know what's up. The Cruise Line International Association, a lobbying group that represents major cruise companies, said its members will adopt other health protocols such as mandatory mask wearing on board and during certain excursions, as well as increased social distancing in terminals and aboard the ships. I mean, why would you? They better be giving some amazing discounts. If when I go on a cruise, I gotta be like just acting like everybody's got the plague or something, okay? Because it takes away from the experience. I don't want to go. It's like going to a bar, to a club. That's why these places need to be closed, because you just can't go and have the same experience at these places if you have to do these things, okay? So, do you want to go? Would you pay the same price to go on a cruise when you have to follow all these rules and there's all these limitations on different things? This association says that this is a critical step towards the resumption of operations. So yes, this is what they got to do so they can start. Do you really want to be the first person? Because here's a story, folks. This is what's the sad thing about this is that I was working. It's 4:00 in the afternoon, and somebody comes to my office and they're like, "Hey, it's a slow day. There's a hurricane going on. There's so much stuff that we can't do right now. So I need to go check something out. You want to come with me?" So I'm like, "Sure, let's go." So we go. And then this turns into that. And then I find myself, we're at this restaurant. I don't even know how we got there, right? So we're at this restaurant. And we see somebody that we know when they come over, and we're all having a good time. And in the back of my mind, several different times in which I'm interacting with people like normal people do, I'm thinking, coronavirus. Does this guy have coronavirus? We're not wearing masks. All right? We're not wearing masks. And we're kind of close and we're talking like normal people do, okay? And even though I'm having a great time, there were several moments in which in the back of my mind, I'm thinking coronavirus, and it's sad. I hate it because it is chipping away at what makes us human and what makes life worth living, okay? And so here we are at these, you're looking at a cruise. You want to go on a cruise, and you can't go on a cruise and then be amongst people that makes a cruise worth going on. Nobody wants to go on a cruise and you're the only one on the cruise. You want to go on a cruise and there's a lot of people on the cruise. It's the whole part of the experience. But if you have to stay 6 feet away from every person and there's all these other rules, you got to wear a mask. How can you be enjoying the Caribbean with a freaking mask on your face? Give me a break. Okay, folks, that alone it's heartbreaking. I've been to the Caribbean on a cruise, and if I had to wear a mask, it would have taken all the joy out of it. I know I'm not some anti-masker person. I wear a mask to go into all these different places. I'll wear a mask if you want me to wear a mask. But I'm not going on a cruise. I'm not going on any cruise that I have to wear a mask on. I'll wait until then we don't have to wear masks, and then I'll go on a cruise. Okay? And if you go on a cruise and you wear a mask, take a photo and then email it to jaminsdaily@gmail.com. I'll send you a shirt. I'll send you some swag. We were talking about this in a previous episode about swag to the first person who emails me, jaminsdaily@gmail.com. It's gonna be a gift basket. It's not even gonna be some cheesy shirt because nobody has emailed me. So we're gonna have jaminsdaily@gmail.com. Email me, gift basket. When we get back, we're gonna take another segment. We're gonna take another break from this segment because I gotta think about what we're gonna do for another 15 minutes. And when I get back, we're gonna have things to talk about. Until then, don't forget, this episode is brought to you by Sage Choice Insurance. Call them at 361-400-2411. We do auto, homeowners, business insurance. Always looking for referral sources. If you're looking to close your deals, we can help you. Call us 361-400-2411. We're off to the break. Stay with us. From the break, folks, Jamin's Daily, episode 22. We're going to get into a topic that we've talked about in early episodes. I'm talking way back, episode 3, 4, 5, maybe. Ellen DeGeneres and her controversy with the toxic workforce or work environment, producers who were running amok. So it's about a month, 6 weeks later, and Ellen DeGeneres jokingly tells her staff, quote unquote, "Please don't look me in the eye," as she returns to the show. So she says, "As you may have heard, this summer there were accusations of a toxic work environment at our show, and then there was an investigation." She's talking about on her monologue. So this was on her show. She's sitting there, and as Ellen DeGeneres discussed the recent controversy surrounding her show on the season 18 premiere, she made sure to infuse a few jokes while at it. Well, duh, she's a comedian. On Monday, DeGeneres returned to the set on the Ellen DeGeneres show, where she addressed allegations of workplace toxicity in the 6-minute opening monologue, and also poked fun at rumors and claims surrounding her behavior, including not wanting to be looked at or allowing staff to chew gum. So she's doing it, this is her monologue, and then Ellen says, "So I'm excited to see, obviously, Twitch." I don't know what's that mean, Twitch, like T. "I'm excited to see all of my staff and my crew. Hi, everybody," said DeGeneres, who's 62 years old, who also announced during the show that Steven Twitch Boss had been promoted from show DJ to co-executive producer. So Twitch is I think he was the musical act. I don't know. "Please don't look at me in the eye," she quipped. "Oh, I'm kidding, but I will be passing out gum for everyone," DeGeneres said with a laugh. Kidding again. Ha 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 ha. "Oh, I can laugh now," she added in the footage. Although there were no in-studio attendees due to COVID-19 precautions, DeGeneres spoke to fans who appeared virtually on screen situated in the audience. Okay, so from the beginning, I was kind of on Team Ellen because I was like, listen, it can't be totally her fault on how producers on her show treat, other employees sometimes. You have to have people who get the job done, and sometimes people get the job done and they're not always the nicest about it. But some of these allegations were pretty serious, some fairly inappropriate sexual advances, and there's things that make for a awkward situation. You can't have that in the office. So I think they got rid of some people. Ellen says she's sorry. She should have known, but she didn't. And if she did, she didn't think it was so bad. I don't know. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. And she's trying to make it right. Folks at home, that's the lesson. Sometimes when somebody does you wrong, you can sit there and cry and pout. Or sometimes you can forgive. And what's even better is when you let them make it up to you. Okay? They're willing and able. Let them. Okay? That you're doing the Lord's work. Okay? They're seeking resurrection. No, not resurrection. Redemption. They're seeking redemption. You let them have it. Okay? At your own benefit. So, Team Ellen, I'm glad she's come out. It's got to be hard for for anybody being accused of things, and then you have to hold it back. You can't just come out and defend yourself because people are telling you, no, you got to do it like this. Oh no, you got to do it like that. No, we'll address this when the season starts. 4 weeks away. So I'm sure poor Ellen has been dealing with this on how she's gonna handle it for quite a while, and she did, I think, a decent job. I mean, what can you say? When you're in the wrong, you're in the wrong. I'm sorry. I'll make it up. like I said, my advice to you folks at home was like, then let them. It's not like she didn't kill anybody. Okay, guys? Everybody likes Ellen. I'm giving her a pass. Moving on. Carol Baskin. She broke down and she reveals how Tiger King affected her life. You know what? Tiger King made her uber famous. Okay? So everything, the only reason why you know of Carol Baskin is because of Tiger King. So she says that she's kept it all inside. I don't know. Because I have my own theories about Carol Baskin, having watched Tiger King like millions of other people. And I don't know. It's weird. I think they have Carol Baskin on this show. She's being completely exploited by Dancing with the Stars. She's willingly allowing herself to be exploited, knowing she's a controversial figure, knowing that being on this show is only going to add fuel to the fire that is Carol Baskin, Tiger King, the whole drama. Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know. jaminsdaily@gmail.com. Carol Baskin, what is your theory? Tiger King, did he try to kill her? Carol Baskin's ex-husband, remember, he went missing, folks. All kinds of theories on what may have befallen this gentleman. And when you look at it, the show is good for a reason, because it makes a lot of points. And you know, documentaries can be slanted in whatever way you want them to, if you're a good filmmaker. So I'm hesitant to take it at face value, like Carol Baskin is this completely unlikable person. You know, you can't convince me that she's on Dancing with the Stars because she's like super likable. She's on Dancing with the Stars because she's a controversial, perhaps even despise is a bad word, but she's like, people have strong feelings either way about Carol Baskin. You're either team Joe Exotic or your team Baskin. And Joe Exotic, I think it's more sympathy half the time when you ask people. But I can't get over the fact. You let me know if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm seeing this in some way that others aren't. But I feel like how she's being... They're all being... exploitation is a strong word. So a lot of these people who go on there, you go on it for whatever reason. But when you're Carol Baskin... You're being put on the show for one reason, and it's your name, controversy. And I guess she's okay with it. Why not? She's trying to clear her name up, I think, if that's what's going on. She's over here crying on TV, trying to seek sympathy. So she's, taking a shot at it. Good for her. Good for her. Moving on. I had another juicy topic here, folks, for us to try to get into. It's not so much juicy, and it's kind of, disappointing and sad. But apparently, if you want to be a postal worker, deliver the mail, Chicago is not the best place to do it, because Chicago postal workers threatened to stop delivering mail after multiple employees shot on the job. What the heck? Can you imagine this? It's not even safe to deliver the mail in certain areas in Chicago. The Postal Workers Union is threatening to stop deliveries in Chicago after multiple carriers were shot walking their routes in recent weeks. It says here, 24-year-old United States Postal Service male was hospitalized after being shot 4 times in a drive-by shooting. Holy smokes, 4 times? Was he the target? I'm thinking perhaps the postal worker, he himself was a gangbanger. He got targeted and shot. Because how the heck how most innocent bystanders aren't hit 4 times? The female victim, who police said wasn't the intended target. Okay, so the postal worker was a female. and police say she wasn't the intended target, is the second mail carrier shot and wounded while working their route after a carrier was shot in Brighton Park. Guess that's an area in Chicago. It doesn't say if he lived or died, which is interesting. And it looks as though they haven't caught the criminal who shot him, because the USPS is offering a $50,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest of the shooter. It says they've also been shot with paintball. They're getting shot with paintball so people were being shot with paintballs. It says, which is a traumatic experience, especially when somebody else was shot with a real gun the day before. So can you imagine? You're a postal service worker. Somebody really does get shot, and then a couple of days later, you're walking around and you get shot with a paintball and it hits you. You don't know one from the other. Talk about being scared, senseless. Just think about this, folks. 45 people were shot and 9 killed in Chicago over the weekend. So, I mean, it's a dangerous place. So if you can imagine delivering the mail there is just dangerous. Just walking down the street, I guess. I mean, you could be the freaking, name it, Amazon worker, postal service worker. You could be who else wants to walk down the streets? Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, all these people are putting their life at risk when they're just walking down the streets in some of these areas in Chicago. There's been 2,220 shootings. There's only 365 days in a year. So there's like half a dozen shootings every single day in a city where you live. How can you justify living in a city where every day people are getting shot? It's insane. It makes no sense. Somebody send me some information on make sense of it for me, folks. Email me at jaminsdaily@gmail.com. Listen, I don't have the solutions. I'm just reading you what I see on the internet, okay? And then slightly giving you my opinion, all right? But it's not like, this is gospel, folks. This is just something to move your brain, get you thinking a little bit, folks. You let me know what you think. We're going to find one more juicy topic here before we take our next break. Trying to make this one a good 45-minute episode before we call it we call it a wrap. Hillary Duff. Do y'all remember Hillary Duff? She's on the internet because of her husband's tattoo. This is the kind of crap that's on the internet. That's clickbait. Who the hell cares about her husband's tattoo? He's a nobody. He's only somebody because he married you, and you're like a freaking C-list actor, Nickelodeon. This is how I want to reminisce. The only way I want to think about Hillary Duff is the Hillary Duff that I knew when I was like 12 years old, and she was probably 14 years old, and she's on Nickelodeon. What has she done in like 10 years? I'm not trying to make fun of Hillary Duff, but why is she on the internet? Why is her husband, he has a butt tattoo. This is why we're going to go into this, folks, because you're probably thinking, come on, Jamin, you're coming with some weak sauce. No. Here's the switcheroo, folks. It's a butt tattoo. Hillary Duff has the best reaction to her husband, Matthew Coma, his name. Matthew Coma. New butt tattoo. It says here, good luck winning a fight with your wife when your name's tattooed on your butt cheek. And there is a photo of him. It's like he has we're going to put this on we're gonna put an image on this. It says Hillary, and it's technically not on his butt. But what's even stranger about this photo is it's hard for me to explain, but it's like he has no butt crack. This makes no sense. Oh, I see what's going on. It's on the side of his butt. Duh. Guys, when I put it on here, you're going to think I'm such a moron. So this is a photo of the side of his butt cheek. This is maybe technically on the butt, but he could have put it more on the butt for it to be a really your name tattooed on my butt. Hillary Duff's husband. This is what's on the internet, folks. This is the epitome of clickbait, and we were just baited. We're dead, folks. If we were a fish, and this was bait, we've been caught, and now we're gonna get served up for dinner. Ashamed of myself. Look, we're gonna take our last break. Before we do, don't forget, we're sponsored by Sage Choice Insurance. Call them at 361-400-2411. Or you can visit this website. So easy. There's this thing, it's called the internet. And you have a phone. And you can just go to the browser and type it in. Quote from Jamin.com. Get an auto homeowner quote. Super easy. Secure. We're talking like VPN, cybersecurity, next level stuff. Okay, bro? So you don't have to worry about it. Just go to the website. Quote from Jamin.com or give us a call. 361-400-2411. When we get back for our last segment of episode 22, we're going to kind of reminisce on the previous 21 episodes. We haven't done like a recap of what we've been doing, which is what I want to do with you folks. Kind of recap on how the first 20 episodes have been and where we see the next 20 episodes going. So when we get back. Hey folks at home, back for our last segment, episode 22, Jamin's Daily Podcast. You can find it on iTunes. You can go to Podbean, and we're going to expand our distribution to Spotify and iHeart Radio, multiple other places to find our show. But what I'd like to do, we talked about in the previous episodes some issues I was having with advertising particular episodes, and we were so far the first only one out of the first 20 episodes was rejected by Facebook. So we're at 95% approval, which is, I think, a great percentage. But now we're going to test the boundaries. So we're going to go over an article that has some, folks, a little bit of technical difficulties there, but we were talking about how I had some issues. 95% acceptance for my ads to advertise for Jamin's Daily. And we did have one that got kind of flagged, but that I'm working on jumping through all the hoops so that doesn't happen again. But today, this last segment, we're going to talk about something. I'm really just going to read the news. I'm going to read to you something that's going on that everybody's heard about, and it's going to be, unfortunately, it's going to be a number one topic for weeks. It's going to be pounded on you until you don't want to hear about it anymore. And I'm going to talk about it here on our show. One, because it's a current event. I'm not going to even opine too much. I'm just going to read you something that's from the New York Times. And I find it interesting because even the saints, even the ones we put on the highest pedestal in 2020, they want to knock you down. Okay, even RBG, this saint of women's rights, of the left, progressive. There is a New York Times article, okay, And again, RBG. So we're testing. I'm not going to say her name because the last video got flagged because I said if you talk too much about politics, you mention too many politicians, it gets flagged. Okay, and then if you're not on this exempt, this list of having been verified and validated, like I'm working on, then it gets rejected. You can't advertise. So we're testing it out. So according to the New York Times, the headline is amid the outpouring for Ginsburg, the outpouring being love. This outpouring of love for Ginsburg, comma, a hint of backlash. Ooh, what can the backlash be? So it says the internet had learned to love RBG. So it was not surprising that when the news of her death broke Friday evening, social media lit up with outpourings of love and admiration for the 80-year-old who had been cast as an iron-pumping, dissenting, slinging legal ninja. Pretty cool. I like that. But those who celebrated her as a one-woman bulwark against the collapse of democracy might have been surprised by something else that bubbled up. Within hours of her death, there also appeared to be more than a little snarking about the pop hagiography. We're going to have to put this, we're going to put it on whenever I'm reading the news to you folks, and there's a word that I don't know, we're going to have a new segment called Dictionary, or we're going to learn it. Pop hagiography. Hagiography? Around her, edged with insinuating questions about just how far-ranging her vision of equality was. So that's the thing, folks. She was 80-something years old. She was lived in a different time than most of these millennial SJW folks, okay? You cannot equate their frame of mind to hers, all right? And these are the people who are judging, in my opinion. Some noted her poor record of hiring black law clerks and her comments in 2016. You know what her comments in 2016 were? She was critical of Colin Kaepernick. She called his protest dumb and disrespectful. Later on had to apologize for it. Because very few folks, very few can withstand the onslaught of the Twitter brigade, folks. When they come after you, you almost always have to surrender and apologize. Others re-upped long-standing critiques of RGB mania and perhaps even the judge herself as reflecting a myopic white feminism. On Twitter, there were calls to remember those left behind by the brand of feminism Ginsburg supposedly advanced, along with mocking references to the public grief over her death as a white woman's 9/11. You see how the only person who would talk about RGB in this way, in the context of a white woman's 9/11, would be someone who's very progressive and to the left, and it just proves that they are the biggest racists of them all. Okay? What conception of women's rights? Again, I'm reading, this is from the New York Times, folks. This is not Jamin writing. This is not my opinion. What conception of women's rights and what kind of feminist movement might have died with Ginsburg? Melissa Guerra Grant wrote in the New York Republic, questioning what she called the false idea of Ginsburg as a liberal or feminist savior. You know what happens, folks at home, is unfortunately, when you become successful and famous enough, others will use your name to promote themselves. Who in the heck is Melissa Guerra Grant to criticize RGB? Right? RGBS. You know what I'm saying? She's just some random critic. And now she's in the New York Times. You don't have to. Everyone, there's always a critic. The whiff of backlash reflects long-standing tensions within feminism, which I'm not an expert on, folks. If you are, email me. I want to have a conversation with you. jaminsdaily@gmail.com, because I am genuinely interested. So the whiff of backlash reflects long-standing tension within feminism as a movement sometimes criticized for being symbolized by and primarily serving middle-class white women, has been challenged by a perspective that emphasizes the interplay of race, class, gender, and other factors. You know, as a man who, I have a degree in liberal arts, but I did not take very many classes like in feminism and things like this or such. So I'm ignorant of this. So again, somebody help me out. But I think when you talk to the layman, just some random person, the normies on the street, and you ask them, what does, feminism is what? Or if I say feminism, you tell me one word that comes to mind. If you say feminism, the word that comes to mind to probably 90%, 9 out of 10 people is going to be women. Is this going to be women? It's not going to be white women, middle class white women. Okay? This is the critique. This is the critical race theory. This is the just critical critique of anything and everything that anybody can have at any time on any subject. And all it is the way it's approached can become very divisive. Like, instead of celebrating RGB for whatever, here we are finding faults, and then the faults that we're finding, we're trying to imply some type of racism. It's just not persuasive at all. Let's continue. It says here that its attention has also grown amid the Black Lives Matter protests of the past summer, as some have questioned whether a highly empowered older white woman ensconced in an elite institution was a fit hero for the moment. Again, just more examples of racism. Okay, we're judging people on their... What happened to MLK, Martin Luther King, man? You're judging people by their character. So wasn't RBG's character like fairly good? I mean, they're trying to say she's a liberal, progressive hero, and yet they're trying to tear her down because she's white, literally simply because of her race and her skin tone. The complete antithesis of Martin Luther King and his dream. It's insane. But some who share the broader critique of feminism say that seeing Ginsburg as a symbol of a symbol of a blinkered white perspective is a reductive as an RBG. See, this is where they get into some kind of lefty, yuppie stuff. Okay, wait. But some who share the broader critique of feminism say that seeing Ginsburg as a symbol of a blinkered white perspective is as reductive as an RBG sticker. Now, folks, this is the epitome of word salad. What the heck? I have a graduate degree, okay, folks? I feel like I read on a pretty high level, and I'm reading that paragraph, and it makes no sense. It could have been completely cut out of this whole piece. Let's move on. That was dumb. More quotes. As a black person, I definitely would have liked to see her be more forward thinking on racial justice issues over the past years, says some woman for some podcast. But denigrating her as an out of touch white feminist is a real disservice. So maybe this person at least has it right. But again, it's a backhanded compliment. She's like, well, maybe we shouldn't judge her. Or maybe she didn't do X, Y, and Z, but there's this weird demonization vibe that's really blowback from a lot of the RBG feminist cult icon stuff that she didn't ask for. So that's another reason. When you have these heroes and you have these people you put on the pedestal, they're always going to get knocked down. But it just goes to show, folks, one of the revolving themes we're going to have on Jamin's Daily as we wrap up episode 22 brought to you from my home without the lighting. It's a little dark in here. You let me know. Do I look a little better? Do I look more? How do I look? Send me an email. You have 3 options: good, hot, or sexy. Those are them. jaminsdaily@gmail.com. But we're going to wrap up this episode. I want to tell you how much I appreciate you watching them. It would really do me a huge favor if you maybe copy the link on this Facebook and send it to some friends. Share it, like it, subscribe. Go to iTunes, you have an iPhone, and follow, subscribe to the podcast. We're doing a bunch of big things. We're going to put out a bunch more episodes here this week. I think we're going to get to 50 here in no time. And once we get to the 50 YouTube channel, folks, and that's when we really going to start pulling it in. We're going to bring in the big guns. Really bring some new entertainment to what we're doing, folks. So, I just want to thank you for joining us. I'm going to call it a wrap. Stick with us, because the best is yet to come.